I'm gonna come up with 3 indie games based on League of Legends. So if you've never heard of Riot Forge, it's a program that Riot has where indie developers get to use the League of Legends IP to create new experiences outside the MOBA, which was amazing for me because the people who played the main game hurt my feelings a lot. Now you may have seen me cover a few of the Riot Forge games before, such as Convergence, Mage Seeker, or Song of Nunu. And unfortunately, Riot Forge is officially going away after the release of Bandle Tales on February 21st. But as a fun farewell, I've asked 3 of my sweaty League of Legends friends to each pick one out of hundreds of champions in the games so that I can brainstorm my dream developer and game for these characters. So I originally planned to do this during the Song of Nunu release, but a bunch of stuff got in the way, things got busy, and this being the last game out of Riot Forge, I figured this is a nice little time capsule type deal, you know? By the way, I'm CGDannyB and I make content all about indie games, so if you want to stick around for some more awesome indie content, be sure to hit that subscribe button or else Fiddlesticks will haunt you in your dreams.
How could you betray us?
Okay, so first I'm gonna start with my buddy, aka Headache. So he's been on a streaming break for a little bit, taking care of some other things in life, doing what he got to do, get your bag, son. However, if I recall, his wife loves Amumu. Therefore, I think his wife's a pretty cool person. So I guess I kind of have to like him by proxy. So that's kind of how that all works together and why I asked him to be in this video. That's the only reason. But Headache, my boy, what you got for me?
All right, Danny.
Yo, wait, my dog, you could be 8-minute video. Damn, this man ready to make a documentary. Okay, what you got?
Hey, my name is AKA Headache, and today for Danny, I have chosen Aphelios.
Aphelios, I don't know that one. I don't know who that is.
Aphelios and his twin sister Elune are celebrated as children of destiny of the Lunari faith. In training to uphold the Lunari faith, Aphelios goes on increasingly dangerous missions, while Elune stays back and trains as a seer.
Let's see, so Aphelios, we'll say what, danger junkie, I guess? Maybe he goes on dangerous missions, so danger junkie. So he said they're twins? Hold on. All right, danger junkie, sister trains at home. I'm taking notes, people, I'm taking notes.
For the first time in centuries, an ancient temple has come into phase from the spirit realm. Only allowing one occupant, Aphelios reluctantly sent Elune to further her training. With Elune and Aphelios separated, an army of Solari surround the entrance to the temple and attack the Lunari faithful. Knowing that Aphelios is under attack, Elune pushes further into the heart of a temple to unlock her full potential. With her full potential unlocked, Aphelios and Elune are now connected. Her power embraces him, and he can hear her voice inside his head.
Okay, he hears her.
Elune is able to push her power into his hands, replacing his blades.
Oh, so she is his blades?
Together, Aphelios and Elune were able to defeat the attacking Solari.
Okay, so she's like, I'm immediately thinking like a JoJo Stan thing where Aphelios is the guy, and then Elune, Elune is like the Stan, and then she's like, ooh, I'm gonna turn into your weapons and do stuff like that.
Aphelios' passive is 5 weapons made by Elune.
Ooh, oh, he got a kit. Hold on, I'm brainstorming.
He has access to 2 weapons at a time. Each weapon has a basic attack and an ability, and when used, consumes the ammo for the weapon. When the weapon is out of ammo, the gun is discarded, and Elune summons the next of the 5.
Okay, so it's like it's in like a set, so it's not like you just switch between. It's like boom, next, boom. Okay. Ooh, it's not out yet. There's a game that's, hold on. There's a game that's not out yet, and I think I've already in my head put together the 2 games. Now this might be a collaboration thing, but hold on.
Aphelios has no E ability. Instead, this slot shows the next weapon in the queue.
Okay, can you use that to switch to it, or it just shows what's next? Uh-oh, the cat do something?
Just ruined that video like I told him not to. That was my cat. He's very rambunctious.
I think he told me when he sent me the video, he was like, hey, I had to do it over. I think my cat was humping a pillow behind me or something like that.
Aphelios' ult fires a concentrated blast of moonlight that explodes on enemy champions, applying the effect of the main hand weapon.
So giant moonbeam? I like giant moonbeam.
I hope that works for you. Let me know if you need anything else.
Headache, I think that is perfect. So I immediately have an idea of like a weapon wheel type deal. And I think I have a combination of the 2 devs that I'd want to see make this kind of game. I might have to pick one and say, hey, steal some people from this company to make this happen. But I think I have an idea for Aphelios already. So that'll be lit. Let me see what we got next. Also, Headache, thank you for submitting that. I appreciate you, bud. All right, so next up is going to be Connor, who I'm now realizing filmed this in vertical. You heathen, what the fuck is wrong with you? All All right, now most of you guys already know Connor as Hobo Monkey over on Twitch. He loves his League of Legends, but more importantly, he loves his Monster Hunter. Every Tuesday, they do Tail Cut Tuesday with our buddy Wes. They play some Monster Hunter World, a little bit of Rise, maybe some Generations. They dabble around. Yeah, be sure to go check out Connor on Twitch. And now, let me see what Connor gave me.
How's it going, guys? My name's Connor, also Hobo Monkey over on Twitch. And Danny asked me to give him a League of Legends champion, a bit of a rundown for them, and then he's going to come up with an indie game idea off them. So I'm really excited for this. I'm paying homage to the very first champion I ever mained in League of Legends way back in the day, and that is Malzahar, the Prophet of the Void.
Malzahar. I know the name. Immediately, I think, and I know it's not, I think of Kha'Zix for whatever reason. I'm like, that's the one. That's not him. Also, for anyone there like, dude, this guy's a League champ. I'm not. If they're not one of the cute characters or they're not one of the funny ones, they don't exist for me.
He's an individual who is plagued by these otherworldly voices and was told to have the ability of being a seer, who eventually followed these voices and entities out into the desert until he found Acathia, where he was pretty much consumed by the void and spit out as its prophet. His goal is to forward the spread of the void and consume all of Runeterra, which is the world League of Legends is on. To give a quick rundown of his abilities, his passive ability is called Void Shift. He kind of lives in between the real world and the void, and so he takes way less damage and is immune to effects to stop him because he's not really there. But once he's hit, he's solidified in this realm for a while, and he takes damage as normal. His Q, his first ability, is called Call of the Void. He opens up two little portals, and this kind of void wave goes between them, damaging and silencing enemies. His W is called Void Swarm, and he summons these little bug voidling guys who swarm his enemies and multiply for limited time while they're out. His E is probably his most famous ability, Malefic Visions. He chooses a creature and plagues their mind with these horrible visions, and they take damage over time. And if that unit dies while that effects on him, it will spread to another person, refreshing it, and also give Malzahar some mana back. So he's almost feeding off these horrors. And his ultimate ability, his R, is called Nether Grasp. And this one's pretty straightforward. He pretty much beams the essence of the void into his enemy's head and creates this huge zone of negative energy that damages them over time, all while they're suppressed. They cannot do anything to get out of it. So that's Malzahar. He's my first main. I love him. Good luck, Danny.
Okay, hold on. What's this motherfucker look like? Oh yeah, this is not what I expected at all. He reminds you of, no, who's the other, Jax? Which one's, hold on, Jax? Oh, I guess he's beefier. This is the before and after. This is this is the workout video. This is where he posts on Instagram and said this was me 2 years ago. This is me after hitting the gym and my girlfriend broke up with me. Nah, he looks cool. This is an interesting one. I'm definitely gonna have to scroll through my Steam library and see what I can piece together. I think the big thing I want to build off of is the swarming of the bugs and the portal stuff. I can't immediately think of games off the top of my head that are boom, you could do this with the portals. Off the rip, I'm thinking a beat 'em up. I don't think I want to go that direction, but we'll see what I come up with that one. So this one's definitely, I got some thinking to do on this one. Okay, and last but certainly not least, we have Kanai, the Dwarven Lion himself. He is also currently on break from streaming, working hard, planning weddings, all that fun stuff. But Kanai was the one who introduced me and my college roommate to League of Legends in the first place, so I had to make sure to include him in this one. Plus, he would have cried if I did Connor and not him, so what are we gonna do? Anyway, Kanai, what's my third champion?
All right, Danny.
Hi.
You got me. I'm doing the thing that you asked me to do, so I'm gonna do it. Hello, my name is Dwarven Lion, or more commonly known by probably most of you, Danny's friend Kanai. And today, I'm here to give Danny a League of Legends champion, like he asked me to. So I'm going to give him a new fun addition to the character roster, the Rogue Sentinel Akshan.
Akshan, okay.
So for the sake of Danny, let's give a breakdown of young Akshan. Akshan's passive is Dirty Fighting. Every 3 hits from Akshan's attacks and abilities deal bonus damage and grants him a shield if the target was a champion. When Akshan attacks, he fires an additional attack for reduced damage. If he cancels the additional attack, he instead gains move speed.
Okay.
Akshan's Q is called Avenge.
Wait. Hold on. I have an idea. Already. Give me a second. Just based on the passive, I might be boiling this down a little bit too much, but I think based on the passive already, I have an idea.
Akshan's Q is called Avengerang. Akshan throws a boomerang that deals damage going out and coming back, and it extends its range every time it hits an enemy. Akshan's W is called Going Rogue. So Akshan passively marks enemy champions as scoundrels when they kill ally champions. If Akshan kills a scoundrel, he resurrects the allies they killed. He gains bonus gold, clears all marks when activated. Akshan enters camouflage and gains move speed and mana regen while moving towards scoundrels. Akshan loses the camouflage quickly while he's not in brush or near terrain. Then we have Akshan's E, which is called Heroic Swing. Akshan fires a grappling hook into terrain, then swings around it, rapidly firing at the nearest enemy while swinging. He can jump off early or get knocked off when he collides with champions or terrain. And then
Hold on. Now I'm a little twisted. So when you mention grappling hook, there's immediately an indie game that comes to mind whenever we say grappling hook. And now I'm wondering, do I go that direction instead? I think it's gonna be another one where I have to look at Akshan and see what he looks like, and then I can kind of piece him in to the game that I can envision. Oh man, this is tough.
And then his ultimate ability, his R, is called Comeuppance. Akshan locks onto an enemy champion and starts storing bullets. When released, he fires all stored bullets, dealing damage based on missing health to the first enemy champion, minion, or structure hit. So, general vibes. Akshan is like an Aladdin-style, Middle Eastern-themed champion in League of Legends. His gun is also a grappling hook. They are not two separate entities, and they're kind of fueled by like magic crystals and cool stuff. He's very big in like good guy revenge, and he's very good at like taking down people who don't practice justice in their daily lives. You can choose to include that because it was clunky, and it might get some laughs, or don't. Also, as a note on his page, it says that his personal moral code is don't be an ass.
I like don't be an ass.
Fun. But yeah, Danny, there you go. Include what you will from that. But that's Akshan, my friend.
Okay, we got some unique ones today. Okay, so I've got 3 ideas to go through here. I've got Aphelios, the moon sister fighter. I've got Malzahar, the scrawny man got jacked, and I have Akshan, the guy who doesn't like mean people, something like that. I think right now I'm the most confident with Aphelios. I think I have an idea locked in for him. I really have to go down with Malzahar and Akshan and see what I can come up with. But this is the part where I'll cut the video and I'll come back with my ideas and tell you what I'm thinking. Okay. Sorry, I just finished recording my reaction to the Nintendo Direct and now I'm sitting down to do this. So it's a busy day. But over the last couple of days, I sat down and scrolled through my Steam, my PlayStation, and my Switch libraries, and I think I've come up with 3 very unique ideas for these imaginary Riot Forge games. So let's take a look at what I've come up with right after you hit that like button so more people can discover the channel. Please and thank you. Now, let's get started. So let's start from the beginning with Aphelios, the Weapon of the Faithful. So my original idea was to base this Aphelios game around Whispering Willows, this atmospheric 2D platform where you play as a young girl missing her father. But she also has this amulet that lets her spirit leave her body and manipulate stuff around her to solve puzzles. I think tonally this one could really work with Aphelios, but after thinking a little bit more about it, it seems Elune doesn't really come out and haunt stuff like Elaine does in this game. She's just in charge of making weapons for her brother. Plus Nightlight Interactive seems to be more into publishing now than developing these days, so I don't know if they really work on something like this anyway. But I did say I had 2 ideas in mind. I think my second one is a lot cooler. So this next game isn't out yet, but I did play the demo last year, so you might have heard me talk about it already. But I'm thinking of giving this Aphelios game to Free Live Studios, the makers of Stick It to the Stickman. Stick It to the Stickman is a 2D fighter roguelike, where your goal is to reach the top of the corporate ladder by fighting every member of the staff getting in your way. So now you're wondering,
but Danny, what the hell does this have to do with Aphelios?
So check this out. After taking a peek at the champion spotlight for Aphelios, I've seen how absolutely chaotic his attacks can get. And Stick It to the Stickman, though far less glowy and explosive, shares a similar level of chaos as you fight your superiors on each floor. But here's the main reason I wanted to take this direction. Aphelios' weapon cycle has you use them, move the used weapon to the end of the rotation, and then bring up the next one. Well, Stick It to the Stickman shares a similar attack rotation system. As you progress through each level, you pick up new combos, and then they drop into your timeline. So as you spam the attack button, you'll know what attack is next based on the indicator at the bottom of the screen. I think implementing all 5 of Aphelios' weapons into this real-time action combat would create an awesome battle experience, filled with lasers, scythes, bullets, and whatever else these siblings are hiding in their arsenal, all while fighting off hordes of minions, voidlings, or other champs. Now, Stickman is a roguelike, but I don't think it necessarily fits the vibe and narrative of Aphelios and Elune. But I still think the general platforming and upward mobility of these levels can be a fitting environment for these siblings to duke it out. Although, I'm sure some people would like a little more variety in their level design. Now, if only the studio had made another game so they could mix up the level design a little bit. So Free Lives also made the action-packed explosive adventure Broforce, which recently got its final update. Now, I don't think the Broforce formula is perfect for Aphelios, but I think zooming in the camera a bit while using the platforming of Broforce and the combat flow of Stick It to the Stickman would make an addicting gameplay loop. And since Aphelios' kit is fairly straightforward, I figured his alt Moonlight Vigil would just charge over time and could be used as a dope across-screen attack to clear out some baddies in a pinch. Now forgive me, I may have friends who play League, but I have no idea narratively what's going on with these characters. So I don't know for sure if there's somebody that Aphelios and Elune have beef with and they should be fighting throughout this game. But if there is, be sure to let me know in the comments so that I can be educated. And there's our Aphelios game. Now, 2 more to go. So next up, we've got Malzahar, Prophet of the Void. So I really struggled the most coming up with my idea for Malzahar. I was aiming for something really portal heavy, so I thought maybe Splitgate, but I don't think a first-person shooter would be ideal for Malzahar. But I also wanted to go with a genre that hadn't been touched by Riot Forge yet. A roguelike, a narrative adventure, survival game, but nothing was quite hitting right. So I listened to sweet baby boy Connor tell me about Malzahar's kit over and over and over again, thinking how to base the game around his attacks, until finally, it clicked. So I shouldn't base this game on his regular attacks, but his passive. A shield that gives reduced damage? How about a tower defense? Now my instinct was to go with Bip and Bits, the team behind Domekeeper. And though I think a team would do an awesome job with the Malzahar game, Domekeeper's combat is heavily focused on being stationary in a pod and using artillery to fight. So now, what studio can create a deep tower defense experience that allows our hero to still move around and take advantage of his regular moveset? So Robot Entertainment has brought us the Orcs Must Die franchise, a series of third-person tower defense games with charming and stylized visuals. But most importantly, a plethora of cool weapons and traps to set up to stop the hordes of enemies coming after you. So the vision I had was pre-constructed levels with your typical empty slots to install turrets in. But rather than wielding swords and setting up mounted gunners, Malzahar could roam around the level, spending his mana pool each round to place portals up that would spawn roaming voidlings. That will attack waves upon waves of minions that are raiding your base. And aside from his Void Swarm ability, you could also set up his called the Void Portals between doorways that would go off at consistent intervals to inflict damage. Now, what would you be defending at the base of these levels? Well, Malzahar. After the player's done setting up their defenses, they'll have to return to the top of the tower, which would activate their Void Shift ability, thus locking themselves into place until the end of the wave. And while in place, Malzahar would have an overhead view of the map, being able to drop his Malefic Visions ability periodically on minions or attacking champs. So when they die, surrounding enemies will take splash damage over time, helping clear out more waves of enemies. And to spice things up, rather than just winning at the end of the final wave, let's say Malzahar goes a bit overboard and obliterates the level with his Nether Grasp, and everything is enveloped by some purple chaos. And again, because I don't know too much about these characters, I'm not sure who Malzahar would be beefing with. But my default is to always go with Rengar because he looks like he says mean things to people for fun. Now I know I'm stretching the capabilities of this champ a little by allowing him to place multiple versions of the same skill all around the map. So if you're already typing an angry comment, just go back to bottom fragging in the MOBA, okay? We're nice around these parts. So yeah, after spending a few days struggling with this one, I'm pretty satisfied with the idea. Would you play a Malzahar tower defense? Now on to our final game, let's take a peek at Akshan the Rogue Sentinel. So Akshan was another champ that I had an idea during the explanation, but I definitely needed to fine tune it a bit. So now the way my indie-infested brain works is that if a character has a grappling hook, it's either Flint Hook or Grapple Dog. And to try and avoid the plethora of roguelikes that we've got these days, I thought Grapple Dog would be a really fun take. Now Grapple Dog is a charming 2D platformer from Medallion Games, where the main character traverses through the levels by jumping, swinging, and of course, grappling to higher platforms. And though I think this is cute, and I would love to see Akshan drawn in this art style, I think my other idea is way more unique. So the team over at Household Games has easily one of the most original ideas for a side-scrolling beat-em-up that I've ever seen. And that game is Way of the Passive Fist. So rather than you running in and beating the snot out of everybody on the screen, your goal is to parry each attack that comes your way and lower your enemy's stamina over time, eventually allowing you to shove them, ultimately defeating them. So get it? Because it's pacifist, but it's also passive fist, right? That shit's clever. Now, based on all the footage, Akshan is most certainly not a pacifist, but I think the basic gameplay of Way of the Pacifist is a great stepping stone to create a dope Akshan game. Since Akshan has a lot more mobility options than the Mysterious Wanderer, I'm imagining we zoom the camera out just a little bit, perhaps to maybe Shredder's Revenge or Streets of Rage 4 size. This way, Akshan has more than enough room to take advantage of not only his grappling hook, which would ideally be used to rapidly move to either side of the screen and dash towards enemies, but he'd also have access to his Avengerang, which could be used to bounce off a number of enemy forces and eventually return to him, initiating a cooldown before using it again. And of course, we have to include his passive. So based on the player's inputs, Akshan could either deal bonus damage after a 3-hit combo using either his melee or range rifle attacks, or if the player cancels an attack from the combo at the right time, they get the speed bonus that Akshan would normally get in the actual game. Now, as far as his going rogue ability would be concerned, I'm picturing specific levels where he'd have extra NPC characters on his side, and Akshan could only revive them by eliminating more challenging opponents who are marked as scoundrels. Or, rather than doing it on specific levels, the allied characters could be special summoned abilities. So you can drop them into the fight when they're needed, and they'll recharge over time. But if you can mark and defeat a difficult opponent, then you'll fully recharge your gauge, allowing you to summon them again. And once again, I don't know who Akshan is friends with. Now, if it were up to me, I'd pick some of the best characters in the game. Amumu, Zack, and Ziggs. I just realized that spells ass. I'm funny. But apparently, according to the boys, Akshan has potential to run into Sivir, as well as being buddies with Lucian, Cena, or Olaf. So let's just put them all into the mix of potential summonable characters. And finally, we have to be sure to include Akshan's comeuppance as well. But rather than it being charged over time, I'm thinking each defeated enemy drops a certain amount of bullets, depending on their difficulty or class. Then once you're all full of bullets, blammo, one giant rattling of bullets from this little grappling gun. Whew, okay, I think that's everything I got. There are my 3 potential / imaginary can't possibly happen anymore because Riot Forge is gone game ideas, and who I'd like to see make them. I can't lie, I'm really gonna miss Riot Forge. Now, I personally don't get the enjoyment out of League that some people do, if that's what you want to call it. But it's very evident with the lore that I've gotten through other Riot Forge games, watching Arcane, and other non-MOBA pieces of the medium, that the world of Runeterra is wildly deep. And I, for one, would love to see this world continue to be fleshed out in a more accessible medium. But with that, Riot Forge has officially come to an end. So, be sure to go check out Bandle Tales. It's a cute life sim type game from the guys who made Graveyard Keeper and Punch Club. It's all about the Yordle characters, so it's really fluffy. Or if that's not your cup of tea, be sure to go check out the other handful of Riot Forge games that are out there already. There may not be any new ones, but these old ones aren't going anywhere, so go play them. And maybe if these games blow up all of a sudden, Riot Forge will come back. I don't know, I'm grasping at straws here. I just want more games. And once again, thank you to my friends for submitting their champ ideas. Without them, I wouldn't have had a springboard for this video, so couldn't have done it without you. So be sure to check out their channels. I'll have the links in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you like this kind of video, and maybe we'll try and find another franchise to do this with in the future. But for now, I'll see you in the next one.